people put that phone down, girl. God bless you.
It's my son. Who, by the way, wanted to make sure that his absentee ballot was that I did that, and I had trouble actually voting for him absentee ballot today, and that made me very concerned. It was the first time. I was told to put it in an orange bag on the floor, and the orange bag looked to me like a Target bag or something. And I said, isn't there a formal election box that says absentee ballots or something like that? And then she said, let me check, and then found it.
Wow.
So that concerned me.
Right.
Did Sunny Hostin just confess to election fraud?
Well, look, that's what a lot of conservatives are saying online. Dinesh D'Souza tweeted last night that Sunny Hostin basically admits to being guilty of voter fraud. Her son was away, so she voted his ballot. It doesn't matter what his intention was. People cannot vote on behalf of others. Presumably, she also forged his signature. She should be arrested and prosecuted. Now, listening to that back, it's not clear to me that she actually forged his signature at all. It seems like he might have filled out his ballot and left it for her to drop off at the mailbox, which I'm not sure that is actually
Maybe
legal.
He's just, a millennial or a Gen Z or like myself who doesn't know how to mail something. Because when was the last? What do? You put a stamp on it? What do you? I don't know. How it works.
I mean, that's completely possible.
Yeah.
They don't know how to use a rotary phone, as I've discovered from many a TikTok. Yeah. But it is interesting to see the kind of voter fraud accusations arise. We see the situation that's happening with the ballot boxes in Arizona right now, with all kinds of accusations being made about what it means that Hobbs is the one that oversees the efficacy of the ballots in Maricopa County, where the delay is emerging. And of course, we've seen on the flip side, Republicans making a lot of political hay out of the idea of voter fraud, advancing policies to crack down on voter fraud. That has led, frankly, to people being wrongly arrested and hauled off to jail for accusations of something that happens extremely.
Yeah, I don't know how you can watch any of those videos of police showing up to people and saying you weren't supposed to vote and now you have to come to the state. It just seems like a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah, especially in Florida, obviously, we saw there really was a red wave, but that's also a place where we've seen Republicans very successfully kind of weaponize fear of voter fraud to crack down on people and arrest them for voter fraud, even if they have not actually committed a crime, as we see here.
Yeah, these videos of the police coming to people and saying you weren't supposed to vote and that you have to go down to the station are really, I don't see how anyone could watch those and say like that this is a constructive use of the police's time. I mean, if we're concerned about crime, this is really how we want to spend police resources and police hours. I can't imagine anyone feels that way. So
yeah, I mean, look, I understand. We've also seen, frankly, a lot of accusations coming from Democrats about voter fraud,
despite
voter suppression.
record turnout.
Yes, and that's part of the Stacey Abrams story, as we've talked about, that she's basically built herself a house constructed on a foundation that she was improperly denied the election because of voter suppression. And things happen, just like there's some instances of voter fraud that of course happen, but all in all, that is not what you can attribute to her consecutive losses, especially when you see Raphael Warnock doing so much better than she is in the state. So I don't know. There's been in fact, Matt Orfalea did a supercut at some point of all the Democrats since 2016 making accusations that elections were stolen. And I do wonder how we're going to get out of this place.
Yeah.
How we're going to get out of this place rhetorically where everyone in the country is so distrustful of the system and that the results can come down fairly, that these arguments have a lot of traction.
Yeah, the really appalling statement by many Republican figures about Donald Trump actually winning the 2020 election, which he didn't, have been are so kind of shiny. They're the headlines, so they attract attention. But many Democrats have in a more kind of subtle way, in some cases, and not so subtle ways, in other cases, have really tried to attribute it to misinformation, to this Russian-based foreign influence campaign. I mean, that was the feel-better explanation. Why did we lose? That Hillary people came up with, and then the mainstream media completely embraced. Totally, yes, it's not that she failed. It's not that she was an unpopular candidate who ran a terrible campaign, did not campaign in Michigan and Pennsylvania. The states that decided the race, she wasn't there. But instead of just accepting responsibility for terrible campaign decisions, they decided that Russian bots on Facebook that were seen by like some people in California or something is the reason that older white working class voters who had voted maybe for Bernie in a primary decided to vote for Donald Trump because Russian Facebook groups had targeted them, which is the most insulting and stupid idea. Like, these are people who listen to talk radio and cable news and were bombarded with messaging from the campaigns themselves. To think that was not effective, but somehow Russia had tapped into their hippocampus is just so diluted. But that narrative has taken hold, and now they don't say that part specifically. They just say it's misinformation. But that's what they mean. That's the root of that accusation.
So there is a big difference between Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, these people trying to call up electors and get election results not certified, which is a thing that happened, and the rhetoric that I think you can rightly say comes from both sides of the aisle about, I should have won this election was stolen, right? And I'm not saying that any of it is good. I do think there's a meaningful difference of trying to literally keep certified election results from being certified, and the kind of rhetorical flourishes that are frankly very common in politics, sour grapes, and the like. But I think your point about Hillary Clinton and Democrats never really taking accountability for what happened in 2016 is a good one. And in a recent Intercept article, actually, George Chidi described Stacey Abrams as the Hillary Clinton of 2022, and I don't think he's necessarily wrong about that.
No, I think that's a really good way to put it. I think this has got to be time for her to exit the political arena, right? This is...
Hillary Clinton or Stacey Abrams?
Both.
I don't think either is. That's the problem. Like we were talking about in an earlier segment, if the Democrats are still wedded to this idea that they can create stars and run stars without having to be really as attendant to what's going on in various communities, the way I think John Fetterman was, and why he was able to weather the storm of his stroke and a bad debate performance, is because the people there knew
he did something right. It is truly
candidate.
Impressive, frankly astonishing to me that he could still win after the appearance that he.
That's the beauty of having a longer tail on your relationship in a community. And we had guests earlier this week talking about the Latino vote, saying something similar, not seeming like someone who shows up last minute and says, we're the good guys, it really works. Having people embedded in the community that folks trust for the longer haul works. And, I hope the Democratic Party realizes that. If not, we are going to see Stacey Abrams run, and she might be the most successful Democratic politician in history who's never actually won a race.
Yeah,
the anti-Fetterman, who has never lost, much like the Philadelphia Eagles.
Fair enough. More Rising right after this. Stay with us.